My two boys, Stephen and Colin, were flown out to Regina, and a couple of my brothers came with them for support because the plan was that I'd be probably going back in a box to Victoria. Anyway, I wasn't having any of that, and being the good mother that I am, I woke up on Mother's Day.
She had been traveling with her daughter, but her real journey started after their car slid off the road on a cold stretch of Saskatchewan highway.
And she saw the car coming and jumped into a snowbank and got out of the way, and the car plowed into the back of our car. So she came back to the car and found me unconscious with a profusely bleeding head wound and rather raspy respirations, and it was lights out for me.
Connie spent more than 3 days in a coma. Survival was just the start.
Absolutely terrified to get back in the car. My visual perception was really off, and I felt the car was going into the left lane all the time. I rode in the car most of the time in the back seat with a blanket or a jacket over my head because I couldn't tolerate the car. Going through Mount Doug Park, I felt like all those trees were coming at me, and I was kept ducking away from them. And that was really hard and nauseating if I didn't have the blanket or the jacket over my head.
The injury also affected Connie's ability to read. Her eyes were trying to move from right to left. That allowed her to read individual words, but she couldn't understand a sentence.
I could still type keyboard on the computer and speak well, but the actual reading was a big, big challenge. And then reading and then actually retaining what I was reading. Short-term memory wasn't good, so.
As she regained some of her energy, Connie began to get help adapting. Her stovetop is on a timer to prevent a fire, and she's flooded her basement more than once. But the biggest shift was in her approach to day-to-day living.
And I did spend my first couple of years working very hard to do things the way I used to do it. And actually, it was one of the fellows at the brain injury office said to me, you know, if you'd stop trying to do it the way you used to do it, you'd make some progress. But you're not going to until you accept that.
As Connie began to take her ups and downs one at a time, she regained much of her independence. She learned to drive again and found ways to enjoy socializing.
To go into a social group, I wear earplugs. And if I go for dinner somewhere, I face a blank wall. So I avoid the stimulation of the activity in a restaurant or in a group. So I had those little strategies that prolong my ability to stay in a social activity.
Before her injury, Connie was a nurse. She has a need to keep active, and with her academic background, she now speaks to healthcare students at the University of Victoria.
But I thought I was still a strong woman down inside, and I had a lot to offer this world, and I just better find a way of doing it, you know, because I was never a sit-at-home-and-do-nothing person.
It's been 10 years since her injury, and Connie has come a very long way. There are things she will likely never recover, yet she still sets little goals and still celebrates as she accomplishes them.
A lot of strategies in place to cope, and I often think to myself that the strategies were gone would be managing as well, and I know I wouldn't be. You know, there's a lot of things that are in place and ingrained in me, and my caregivers' families. I still have that support. And if those things are all wiped out, then I don't think I'd be doing as well.
Not everyone will recover and adapt as well as Connie, and no two injuries are the same. Still, many others have struggled with brain injuries before, and thankfully, there are places you can go for understanding and support.